Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy, and it's good to be back, everyone. Hello, Steve.
Yeah, hello, Eric. It's been a little while. Some things
It's
have
been a
happened.
little while.
Yeah.
So, welcome back to the show where Steve and I, from the beginnings of many lockdowns ago, have been coming on here to solve the world's problems. And we've been tied up in some problems ourselves, and so we've been away for the last month, but we're very glad to be back. So if you're joining us and you're watching live, there will be chat happening, so you can say hello to each other in the chat and comment on how good we both look after a month away. And any YouTuber will say, smash that like button.
Yeah, so this is a pre-recorded one. Although I can already see in the comments people are unhappy about that. And then we will possibly, as this goes out, be engaging in the chat ourselves, although tonight my chat will also be pre-recorded. So just schedule some of them. Can you do that? Oh, imagine if you could schedule chat to go out with the pre-recorded show. Schedule? What an ugly sounding word.
Schedule them.
Don't know what that means.
While I'm putting some oregano on my aluminum.
It makes it tasty.
Yeah, and I've just, because part of the month away has been me getting back to America to remind myself about the correct pronunciations in the evolution of the English language. So although I did accidentally say urinal and get punched.
Right. Well, at least you weren't shot, so you didn't have the full American experience.
That's true. No, what nearly got me shot is this is something I hadn't realized. So if you've ever seen my live stand-up, I talk a lot about how friendly America is and how I've gotten sick of that having lived in the UK for 22 years. But I didn't realize that one of our common greetings that we have here is actually quite violent. If I saw you, Steve, and I went, "You all right?" You would say,
"Yeah, I'm all right."
Yeah, exactly.
How
well, in America, if you say, "You all right?" it's not friendly. I was meeting someone for the first time. I went, "You all right?" And he went, "What?" And I went, "You all right?" And then that did get a little bit tense at one stage. So, but because that's even our friendly greetings in the UK are unfriendly.
I noticed this once when there was a tourist to London. When I was living in London, I was on a bus, and someone I didn't recognize where his accent was from, but it told me that English might be his second language. And he said, is someone sitting there? And I think my bag might have been on the seat, but probably not. I'm not that kind of guy. But anyway, my response was, in a really English colloquial way, was, "Knock yourself out." Which is not a polite thing to say, is it? Very much is, go punch yourself in the face. That's how it came across, apparently.
Yeah. But considering a culture...
I was going to say, I was thinking this about, you just been to America, and of course everyone's polite, because you don't know who's got guns. I think if there was a random presence of armory, then maybe we would be a bit more polite as well, because you know they're not tooled up. That's when you say, like, when you get lost, you muppet.
Yeah, exactly. The worst case here, you might get glassed with a pint, but you also might be able to get a beer out of that pint, and that will take away some of the pain.
Yeah, true.
So
yeah, that's the only reason you're polite, is because you're all tooled up. Like, customer service is so much better in America because you might get shot. It's not just TripAdvisor bad if you don't do well. There's a chance of being shot. It really raises the game.
Yeah. So they should on TripAdvisor in the US have bullets instead of stars.
Oh God. Oh dear. That clip will look bad. That clip won't age well. It's not as though we won't have to wait long for a shooting. So.
Yeah. Nope. Well. There was one now. Oh, there was another one.
Wow.
I don't know why I looked at my watch. Like I had them scheduled.
Scheduled. Had them scheduled.
Scheduled.
Anyway. So you're off in America, yeah? Good times.
So touch base with my American roots and back here in Britain, where the news has been. How has it been this last month? Is the news sorted?
Oh yeah, absolutely great. No problems anymore.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and we can go through some of the headlines that we've been dealing with just like over the last few days, if you like.
Yeah, it'd be nice to catch me up.
Yeah, I'll catch you up with, it's all about cost of living. So Boris Johnson, even today, he was interviewed on Good Morning Britain, and he insisted that he's honest. And that's always something honest people have to insist, isn't it? No, being honest, right? And then he said he got it wrong about Partygate. And then he's also spoken about how he needs to do more to try and sort out the issues with cost of living. And you might have been away for this. The government came up with some ideas on how it could help with the cost of living. One was changing MOTs from annual to every 2 years.
Oh.
So that'll save you the 40 quid for the MOT. and all of the petrol you'll save when your car breaks down and can't use it anymore. So it's like a compound saving.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is if you don't make sure the cars are in good working order and you're worried about your living, there's a good chance because those cars aren't in good working order, you won't be living as long.
Yes. Solves the pension crisis in another way. So they've really been thinking about these things. It's really good of them, isn't it? Yeah, the MOT, it's only 40 quid of all the things to save us. Like the gas bills are huge. And this in general has been the theme. It doesn't matter which news story you find. All of them seem to be adding to the cost of living crisis. The gas prices were already expensive, and then the war makes things more expensive as well. Did you know that Ukraine was producing that much wheat? I go on walks through the English countryside. We've got an absolute shit ton of wheat fields. Why are we running out of wheat? Is the stuff that grows in our fields just decorative, just to look good on postcards?
Well, British wheat has been tainted ever since Theresa May went running around.
Oh, dirty.
It's got that kind of made it skanky.
Yeah, because you just don't know which field it was.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she was naked at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Wheat.
Naked Theresa May. Maybe that was the porn that that MP was looking for.
Yeah. Well, I've got a headline on that as well, because to catch you up on that, in fact, let's go to the headline, which I think would be this one. Yeah. I mean, he said he was looking at tractors rather than looking at porn, which isn't believable. It would have been more believable if he said he was simply searching for a gardening hoe. Now, I have been trying to get that joke on loads of places. Absolutely, I forgot it on GB News. I didn't get it. I've been trying to do it all over the place. Finally got that joke out.
There it is.
A week too late.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's still in the news.
But apparently it's because there's a combine harvester called Dominator. And one theory is that he was searching for that. And, you would end up with some interesting stuff. I don't even like that as a name for a combine harvester. The Dominator. It's putting me right off.
Yeah, it's more of just a single-use tractor rather than a harvester.
Ooh, yeah. So apparently he was, searching. I mean, how badly do you have to type tractor into Google for the answers to come back as porn? It feels like it's quite a journey to go for. And also, the problem is it's got a slight whiff that he might have been enjoying the pictures of tractors too much. You should get these people who have romantic attachments to inanimate objects. Yeah. People who've been married for a long while.
Well, we've covered it on our show. The guy who married an ashtray at one point, or made love to the ashtray, amongst other inanimate objects. So maybe
I could never make love to an ashtray because my dating profiles always specify non-smoker. Couldn't resist. Could just sense that there was a terrible pun out there.
Yeah, there's so many terrible puns. It's good to be back.
You also missed the story of the woman who married her own cat. Did you spot that?
What?
One? There's a woman married a cat because I don't have a headline for this, but you can search for it. She was sick of being told to not have pets. She was renting a place, and so she married her cat so that they couldn't evict the cat. And that story again, woman who rented a place that specifies no pets, wants pets, and didn't marry a cat because you can't marry a cat. So
what?
I mean, it's bizarre, isn't it? It's as if somehow. Back in the day when everyone was talking about equal marriage and the right-wingers are going like, what next? People will be marrying their dogs. This was the slippery slope that people worried about right from the start. And it turns out you can't marry your cat. She is making all of that up.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I don't know.
I can't even say I do.
Cats never would. I mean, a dog would marry you.
Yeah.
Definitely. As a dog owner. I mean, you've got cats.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's amazing that we've been friends all this time. The dog would definitely jump at a marriage proposal. I mean, he would, I'd have to say the word treat, but he would definitely go for it. But your cats, they're never going to commit, are they?
They would be all about the prenup. They'd want to negotiate levels of kibble, all of this. It was, why make it sordid? So yeah, that was, you've been up to date with that one. What else is, so the war is still going on. It's a headline about that today as well.
I thought that would be done.
I know, right? Putin thought it'd be done by now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I watch a lot of Fox News, so I thought Putin had won the war already. So Tucker Carlson's been keeping me up to loop. Comrade Carlson, I can call him.
There's a headline today. Vladimir Putin has dementia and is being driven insane by paranoia, says person speaking behind his back. Looks like you're proving your point there. And there's another supply and demand issue that I wanted to get you up to date on. Have you apparently HRT is hard to come by. Women have been flocking to private clinics to secure some extra HRT. And most stories, if you find any article on this, down the bottom, they will always say that women have been driven to meeting in car parks to buy these drugs. Why are they dishing them out in car parks? It just seems... I go in car parks a lot. I'm a bit worried I might accidentally HRT myself up. And even though I disagree with this joke, I wrote it, so I need to say it.
Okay.
Why hand out HRT in a place where you need to be good at parking? Now, I disagree with that joke.
Ooh.
But it was just too many bits which close together. So let's pretend someone else said that. And I was like, oh, God, I can't believe people do jokes like that.
I can't believe that Jimmy Carr did that joke.
Did he? Or are you making it up? Because there is a chance that... Because he's not worried about being cancelled like I am.
I know, that's why I was going to give it to him.
Yeah. So...
you message it to him in a brown envelope and just send it to him.
Hand it to him in a car park. Anybody. I tried to hand it to him in a car park, but I came back with tits.
You already had those.
Yeah, I already had tits.
I think, I don't know. I get most of my drugs in car parks.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good times.
But I can't understand how somehow we could whoop up an absolute shit ton of vaccine from a standing start in a few months, and yet, no, we're just out of HRT. Make some more. How have you not made more yet? It's truth.
Well, because it comes out to see. I didn't get to see a Trump train, but I get to see some trucks with some big ass Trump flags. So if you've seen the videos of the Trump trains in America where people are just driving along, and have you seen those?
No.
Well, basically, what people do that are Trump supporters is they get their trucks and their 4x4s and their big ass, jacked up trucks, and they paint Trump along the side of them, and pictures of Trump, usually in sort of like with his head on sort of like a Schwarzenegger type body from the 1980s. And then they have flags that are as big as the car. There was one that we were following it, and the flag was whipping around on the back of the car so much. You're just worried it's going to come off and fly into your windshield and block you out. But they get big trains of these, and they just drive up and down the freeway because that's what Americans do. But it's very important to note that the Republican Party is not a cult.
Right.
It's not a cult.
No, but they paint depictions of their leader on the side of their vehicles. Okay.
Drive aimlessly around, not going anywhere, just to celebrate, and just have flags on their cars. Not just, well, it's one thing to have flags on your houses. Many Americans have flags on their houses because they wake up in the morning, they go outside their house, and they don't know where they are. And they're like, oh, I'm still in America. So that's important. It's important to do.
Do you think that's because Americans grew up watching Quantum Leap? And
you just don't know.
Yeah, you could wake up anywhere. What year is this? You need that kind of...
You could wake up and you're in Canada. No one wants that. So that's why those flags are there. But the big news that's been breaking in the last 24 hours from the U.S. is that Roe v. Wade, the law that legalized abortion throughout the 50 states, might get taken down by the Supreme Court. And there's been a draft of a decision that the court is going to release in 2 months' time, which basically just tears up a woman's rights to choose, and it could be the final decision of this court. And this court is doing that because the judges have been stacked by Trump when he was president. And the reason that those judges are there is because back in 2016, there were people who voted for things like the Green Party and went, oh, they're all the same. Hillary's emails, and it doesn't matter. I don't like her. I don't like her. So now those same anyone will know, any women that voted for that and said that will no longer have body autonomy. So, which is good. But I mean, we don't know if this is going to be the final decision because this is a draft decision from the court. So it'd be kind of like if we were, building up a new routine and somebody got a hold of the first draft of our jokes.
Yeah. But
so
even then, I mean, unless they've just forgot to type the word "not" into it, like when you like in a text. But the first draft and the second draft to be that different would be quite impressive.
Things evolve. I mean, if you want us to get an idea what the first draft of jokes are, go back and look at some of our early shows.
Yeah.
before we've actually thought about what they're going to be. But I mean, that's the concern is that if this is the view of the court, that they say, but basically the opinion is if it wasn't covered by the original Constitution that was written when women couldn't vote and America had a huge enslaved population, that it doesn't count now.
Okay. Can I ask a question then?
Yeah.
What are amendments?
What are amendments to the Constitution? Well, those have to be passed by 2/3 of the states, where they get to make a change to the Constitution. But so there's a provision.
So the claim there that if it wasn't written in the original one, it doesn't count. Surely you should then scrap all amendments because they weren't, by definition, written in the original one.
Yes, but the original one did allow for the provision of amendments. So as long as you go through the constitutional process. But if it's not mentioned by the actual Constitution or the amendments, then it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think make them pick one or the other, because if they want to try and get rid of a woman's right to choose, no more guns for you. See how that works. In fact, to be honest, if you're having a country where women don't have the right, have bodily autonomy, you probably want to get rid of the guns, because you might get shot, because things are going to get testy.
They're going to get very testy. So the problem is that the Supreme Court doesn't release its decision for another 2 months. So it's going to be, and this is the first time a draft decision has ever leaked from the Supreme Court. So it's normally quite a tight little ship.
Is this like when an album drops or a podcast gets released?
It's exactly like that.
Bit of early PR. Yeah. The teaser.
Well, it's kind of like, I guess, before they got better at, digital piracy, and protecting stuff, because I mean, now it's almost impossible to get something that hasn't been publicly released on the internet through digital means.
I think this show is probably going to be released on the internet through digital means as well. Terrible.
But I mean, it's very difficult to get anything that's not publicly available, like to steal it or, BitTorrent it, or that's impossible, right?
Yeah. I imagine there must be ways. I don't understand them myself. There must be ways.
I would never do that. But so that's kind of like this has been BitTorrented.
Torrented. Yeah.
Torrented. So, the other thing I want to say, if anyone hasn't watched that interview that we talked about at the beginning with Boris Johnson, there's a classic line that is going to come from that, is who's Lorraine? I don't know if you saw that moment yet in the clips from the interview. Oh. But at the very end, Susanna Reid was trying to wrap up and throw back to Lorraine, who was in the studio. And Johnson was quite flustered. And so she's like, right, well, that's all we have time for. And I'm sure Lorraine is going to go through the points that you mentioned. And Boris just went, who's Lorraine? And then the video just cuts.
Oh, God.
And I know, he's just flashing through going, is it one of my wives? Is it one of the girlfriends or one of the wives? I don't know. Who's Lorraine? Oh, no, I've got more kids.
Yeah, I get the feel. Yeah, Lorraine would be one of his exes, and then the partner he was with afterwards would be called Kiri. Is that a woman's name? Kiri.
Oh yeah.
Because then he'd think to himself, "I can see Kiri now. Lorraine has gone." Close enough, isn't it? I'm trying to think of a woman's name that rhymes with clearly.
It's good. That's good.
I've still been writing jokes since we've stopped doing these.
And I haven't.
We're back.
Clearly. But so, and how's fatherhood going?
I think it's good. I think it's coming along nicely.
You nailed it?
Absolutely nailed it. It's a piece of cake. I don't know why everyone keeps complaining about. No, he seems to be, he's a good lad. I am still worried about the concept of growing a human who won't be an arsehole like everyone else. I realise maybe I'm coming at that from that misanthropic, biased point of view. But it is quite difficult because everyone else, you've seen them, you've met them, they're out there in the world, they're arseholes, and I don't want to replicate one of those. So it's quite difficult.
Well, there's a lot of them, except for my kids, of course.
But
everyone else's.
And I've said this before, that because we've got a boy and not a girl, I think it raises the stakes. Because if you accidentally raise a psychopath and it's a girl, that's some beds being pooed in, but that's about it. Whereas if you raise a boy who's a psychopath, it's got a death count to it. So I'm more worried. It's really got to try and be strict and grow a good human. That's my project.
Well, Steve, I trust you. If you had a daughter and she was a psychopath and you were raising her, she would definitely be able to kill people.
That's true. Yeah. I'm all about equal opportunities.
Your daughter would do that. She wouldn't just shit in Johnny Depp's bed. Is that what you were referencing?
That's the ref. Yeah. I mean, has anyone else shit in beds? I think it's just it's a one news story angle, that, isn't it?
I don't want to talk about.
Okay. I mean,
matters.
It's if you choose to, that's different. But doing it as a dirty protest and somehow thinking you can blame it on what is a very small dog. Like, if you're going to try and poo in a bed and blame it on a dog, at least have a St. Bernard or a Great Dane. Maybe I'm giving away too much information about the caliber of my poos. But the little dogs they've got, no. That way, well, if you do want to try and do a poo and blame it on the dog, you've got to make a really small ring with your finger and poo through that. Just to really, like an icing piper, make it small. We are solving problems.
That's true. As a dog owner, you become intimately acquainted with your dog's poo because you're picking it up. Sometimes I even use a plastic bag, and but Buddy will normally have a 3 poo walk is a good walk for Buddy, but the poos change as the walk happens. You've got the first poo, which is the one that's been stored up all night long. That is more of a firm texture. Then you've got the second one, a little bit lighter, a little bit fluffier, and then the third, it's a bit messy. But so you would, if you've got a dog, you would definitely be able to look at that and go, yeah. So
that's a 9 a.m.
So
poo.
there's no confusion between Amber's poo and the dog's poo.
Although having said that, we are presuming Amber does normal poos. Might do doggy poos.
She's a superstar. She's probably going to have controlled little tiny poos because of because women, don't have the pressure on women to conform to certain types of beauty, and soon in some states, the pressure on women to have babies they don't want.
I thought for a second you were going to say the pressure on women to conform to a certain type of poo. Is that why she's on a calorie-restricted diet, goes to the gym a lot, really trying to tighten up that piper?
Yeah. Poos through a funnel.
Poos through a funnel. God. That would be the other way of doing it, though. You're right. We are literally solving problems. In the new format, we're actually coming up with answers.
Well, and not a funnel, but one of those things where you put the icing on cake.
Yeah, pipe. Yeah, a little icing piper. Yeah. You can get the ones in a bag or the ones with like the syringe thing. They're all doable. Amber, if you're watching, I'm sure she is.
Yeah. Just want to make sure when you're done using it, you don't put it back in the kitchen next to the baking supplies.
The brave person who has a chocolate brownie around hers. Yeah. I'm sure in the future we'll end up talking even more about that court case because it's been interesting.
I've tried to avoid it. Right. I think we are starting to run out of time, aren't we? Is there, I'm sure, let's just check in on the chat. That's good, guys. That's really funny. Good stuff. If you're enjoying this and want to help us encourage you to do it again, the Ko-fi link is still valid. There's a little bit of dust on it. You might have to push the dust off the Ko-fi link.
But we're back, at least now, because, things are difficult and we can manage to try and fit these in. So more of them might be pre-recorded, but we're back doing them. The product is available.
It's there. And but otherwise, you can catch you on a new show that's come up in the last month as well. Steve, do you want to plug that? Ministry of Offence, every Saturday at 8. Google it. You can find it online for previous episodes, although I will say, whichever one went out on Saturday is the best so far. I'd start from there, episode 3 or 4, whichever one we've done. I think we're really starting to get a sense of it. It's bizarrely, it's us talking about the news and doing jokes about it. Why did they get you for that? It took long enough, didn't it? Trying to be a topical comedian. It's truth. They should have just listened to us on our first radio show that we did together. Then they would have jumped right. Fubar. Just gone back to the Fubar. Skipped all the love sport. Skipped all the other things that we did in Edinburgh. Oh, God, it's been a long time. Yeah. Long time. Yeah. So cool. And so we're both on a little bit of GB News action. So you can catch us on Headliners at 11 o'clock at various nights of the week and you on Saturdays. Yep. And I'm still doing the Time FM shows. More importantly, the podcast. Actually, the podcast from Friday's show, it might be my favorite radio show I've done during this sweep of radio shows. It was weird. Wow. We did Boris Becker. We talked about AI coming to life. There was a thing about the Beatles. It ended up being one of my favorite podcasts. So have a listen to that one if you can track it down, or tweet me and I'll send you the link. There we go. Or you'll come around and just reenact it for someone in their house. Tell you the jokes, yeah. Short enough, about 8 minutes probably. I do a 4-hour show and whittle it down to the bits worth keeping. About 8 minutes. Well, that's all it takes you. And then also, people can listen to one where you're stuck on the M25. Yes, of course. Yeah, that happened since then. I did a radio show from the M25, from trapped traffic. It might be a world first.
because why else would anyone do that? It's not like it's worth doing. So yeah,
I do know other people that have been trapped on the M25 and lost gigs and gotten stuck, but they didn't manage to do their gig from the M25. So yeah, probably easier if it's a radio show.
It was all via the Google Pixel 6 Pro, which actually I was thinking I should probably like tweet them or something, and maybe Google will send me some more free stuff. Say more, any free stuff. Well, no, I mean the Gmail account's free. I can't complain. In fact, Google, you've done enough.
There you go. Yeah, you wouldn't pay for anything.
No, you've met me. Can't afford it.
There we go.
And then there's the YouTube link as well, and we've got that. And I can't remember what the third button says. Oh, it's on Twitter.
There it is. There we go. So yeah, follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel. Kick us a little fun money in the Ko-fi if you want to do that. And we'll be aspiring to be back next week around the same time. So if we're not here next Tuesday, we'll be the next Tuesday after that, whichever comes first.
Yep. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.